We are about to go walk around the TCU library and quiz fellow students on sex trafficking.
Our first question that we're going to ask TCU students is how much they think the average of a sex slave costs.
I think it would be expensive, like $300.
Like $200.
Right now.
$250.
Okay.
The second question we're going to ask TCU students is where they think it is most common that sex trafficking occurs.
Probably in like alleys.
I could guess maybe like bars or something like that.
Pick a place.
I assume strip club.
I'm Madeline Carter. I'm a senior here at TCU. I'm studying entrepreneurial management with a minor in political science, and I founded the International Justice Mission at TCU.
So Madeline, what sparked your interest in fighting human trafficking?
I went to India 2 summers ago on a study abroad trip through TCU studying human trafficking, and I got to meet with nonprofits who were fighting sex trafficking, rehabilitating boys who had been trapped in labor trafficking, and just was sitting in my hotel room just overwhelmed by the issue. I had just walked down the red light district in New Delhi, India, where there are hundreds of brothels just sitting out in the open on the street, and I could see like thousands of women in prostitution like through the bars of their windows, and talked to a few of them while we were there, and was just overwhelmed and thought there's no way I can go back to TCU and not do anything about this. And I couldn't sleep until I had said, I will use my life to fight this issue.
What would you say to the people that are watching this video right now and how they can make a difference on TCU campus and then beyond after graduation?
I think something to note, since you're in children in the global community, is that a large portion of sex trafficking victims are children, but we can't just think that child prostitution is the only bad thing, and we have to see adult sex trafficking as also bad, because kids who get trafficked turn into adults who are trafficked. So the 18-year-old age limit of child sex trafficking is terrible, but adult sex trafficking is their choice is not true. And so, yeah, keeping that in mind when focusing on the issue, because it's just a holistic, it's everybody. It's not just children, and it's not just children in developing countries. It's children in Fort Worth, Texas. It's adults in Fort Worth, Texas. It's happening everywhere. So not everybody is called to break down brothel doors for the rest of their life. And that's not what you have to do to fight sex trafficking. Everybody can fight it solely by understanding in their own heart what drives it and what they are doing that impacts the sex trafficking industry. So that means understanding that pornography drives sex trafficking. Half of sex trafficking victims have pornography filmed of them and posted on the internet without their consent. Porn is used to train child sex trafficking victims to tell them what to do when clients come. All around, it's horrible, and you have to understand that and not contribute to that, or you are contributing to sex trafficking. And then holistically, just a culture that puts women down, that believes that women are sexual objects, that is something that drives sex trafficking. Something that influences men to believe that they should have the ability to purchase sex from a woman. That's not something that should be encouraged in any way, because that fuels sex trafficking. So just day in and day out, understanding that if you see somebody on the street soliciting prostitution, which happens in Fort Worth, Texas, I've seen it on Berry Street, not seeing that person as someone who's making a life choice to sell their own body, because realistically, who wakes up in the morning and says, I would love to sell my own body to strangers 15 times today? Because women in prostitution have 10 to 15 clients a day. but understanding them as a victim of something that has happened to them, some childhood abuse, sexual abuse, emotional abuse, or force, fraud, or coercion has brought them into prostitution. So not seeing them as somebody to look down upon, but somebody who is being exploited.
My name's Addie Hall. I am a sophomore at TCU, and I'm a strategic communication major. I'm from Denver, Colorado, and I began interning with the Net this past semester.
How specifically does the Net help with the sex industry in Fort Worth?
So the Net technically has like 3 branches, and one of them is their homeless branch. One of them is their refugee Ladera Palms branch, and then one of them is Purchased. And so Purchased deals directly with women that have been affected by the sex industry. So one thing that they do is called jail outreach, and that's initially how I got involved with the Net as an organization. And basically that is going to Tarrant County Jail twice a month, like that's your commitment, like the lower level commitment that you have to do. And you just go in and talk to these women who have been put in jail for prostitution charges, and basically just like tell them that you're there for them to hear their stories and that you're there just as a friend to them. And also that we have a program called the RISE program, which is a 9-month, or not 9 months, it takes people longer sometimes, but 9-step process for women who have gotten out of jail that have been put in jail for prostitution, and just like the steps that they take basically to get clean, get a job, find housing, just all those things so that they can basically get back on their feet.
How can the community get involved and help this cause?
So purchase training is a really cool way to initially get involved. I think like initially something that I was intimidated because I didn't exactly know how to get involved, but purchase training is at the beginning of every like college semester. So it'll be this upcoming August or September, and then it'll be again in February. And basically they'll advertise it like on their Instagram and Facebook and stuff about when it's coming up, and you just sign up and go, and it's like a 6-hour thing, and it basically just teaches you about the sex industry and how much of a problem it is, and then you can take different steps to get involved.
Can you explain the purchase training?
Yes, so purchase training, like I said, is at the beginning of each like TCU college semester, school semester, and basically you go in and you sit from like, for example, from like 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. on a Saturday, and you just learn a ton about the problem of sex trafficking, and just all the different avenues and ways that it affects Fort Worth and just these women in general, and like how they feel if they are, just so many different mindsets and stuff. So then there's different types of, the Net calls them advocates and not volunteers, because they believe that like you're advocating for these people and you're not like volunteering. So there's a jail advocate, which is one thing that you can do, and that basically like the commitment to do that is going twice a month to the jail. It's like from 5:30 to 7:30 on a Monday night or Tuesday night, depending on what works best for you. And so that's that, and they ask that you serve with them for at least a year. Do that for at least a year, unless something crazy happens in your life. And then there's another one that's called a RISE advocate, and so like I was saying earlier about like these women who go through the RISE program after they get out of jail. If you're a RISE advocate, basically like you're taking on the responsibility of like pursuing and loving on one specific woman who is going through the RISE program. So usually it's not a TCU student, because like you just don't have that time capacity to like go get coffee with one of these ladies every week, go do stuff with them, go take them to movies. Like it's basically like that, but it's usually like older women who do that. And then we have this thing called Survivor Support Group Dinner every Tuesday night with these RISE women, and it's just basically us, like it's like, as weird as it sounds, it's like Alcoholics Anonymous, but for women who have been in the sex industry or are still in it. Anyone's welcome to come. And so another way that you can volunteer is by offering to provide a meal for that, because we have dinners every Tuesday. So
What are you planning to do in the future to help fight sex trafficking?
I would love to keep interning for the Net and just learn more about it. I think the more experience that you have with something like this, like even joining to be like a jail advocate, or something just really opens your eyes to real world experience and is a great avenue to teach you more about it. I don't know exactly what I'll specifically do with sex trafficking in my own life, but I would love to help pour into the community of women who have been affected by it for a long time.